I have to record this video today because I have been very excited about this video for the last 3 days, I think. And it's already been 3 days, and now I'm scared that tomorrow I will lose momentum and this video will not happen, or it will get delayed and stretched indefinitely. So I thought I will do this today, and I don't have time for a proper setup. And I think this is kind of becoming the norm now, where I just don't have enough time to sit down and make a video. But anyway, I think this is the only way that I can do this now. So let's get on with this. Today's video is about The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and I first read Sylvia Plath back in 2002. One of her poems, Tulips, was in our syllabus. I don't remember anything about the poem, but what I do remember vaguely is everyone saying Sylvia Plath was a great poet. They also said that she had a sad life and was probably ill or bedridden when she wrote Tulips. 23 years later, which is this year, our niece gifted us this book. She seems to have enjoyed reading it and wanted us to read it too. So before starting any book, I try to read up about its author, and I find this far more helpful than reading the back cover overview. Some books have a little note about the author, but these days it's pretty easy to read up about stuff. You can tell that I am reading stuff that I have written and I am judging myself. This is the only way I can do these videos, so please bear with me. Some books have a little note about the author, but these days it's pretty easy to read up stuff, so I think it's fun to do that little pre-read on your own. Sylvia Plath had a sad life. By the time she ended her own life at just 30 years old, she had already become one of the most powerful voices in literature. The Bell Jar is her first and only novel. She died just before it was published. It is considered to be semi-autobiographical. The struggles of the main character, Esther Greenwood, gives us a lot of insight into the struggles of Sylvia Plath herself. Now, I picked up this book right after reading Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. I made a video about that a few days ago. You can check out the link in the description. I wanted to thank all the people who watched that video. And all the people who took time to comment on that video. It kind of validated my current phase where I am not making any music at all, but I'm just reading a lot and I'm watching a lot of movies. Not a lot of movies, like you watch about one movie every 2 or 3 days, and sometimes it's one movie over 2 days because yeah, that's a different topic. I digress. After Kazuo Ishiguro's simple, straightforward writing, this book felt a little intense at first. Every other line has some kind of analogy. There's a constant intensity that put me off a little initially because it felt like the author was trying hard to impress me. But as I got used to it, I started enjoying the personality of her writing. Sylvia Plath's writing is beautiful and tragic, like freshly cut flowers. I felt like she was writing with a scalpel or an X-Acto knife, deftly making sharp little cuts that sting and bleed. I did not really latch on to the book for the first 50 odd pages, and I was considering switching to something else. It was only somewhere around chapter 6 that I suddenly got hooked. It was around that time when Esther goes into more details about Buddy Willard, and I realized that it's a pattern. I realized that it's a pattern, and I had somewhat sensed that even before, but by now it was locking in as a recurring theme, and I wanted to find out where it takes Esther. This novel is basically you living inside the head of the protagonist, Esther Greenwood, who, let's just say, has a certain way of thinking about things, and the reader kind of knows that it's unlikely to end well for her. There are other important characters: Buddy Willard, who's Esther's friend and whom she grows to despise, Esther's mother, and a couple of other friends, Doreen and Joan. And at this point of time, I want to take a break and tell you that this video is sponsored by Nobody Gel. Nobody Gel is a great product. It kind of makes you a nobody that nobody cares about. Also, I want to quickly say that the book that I'm reading currently is Three Men in a Boat, because after reading Sylvia Plath, I needed something to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. And I have read about 75 pages, and this book is quite funny. It's a comic masterpiece. It's a comic masterpiece according to The Guardian, and I kind of agree. Yeah, so that's the next book on the list. Books like these are so important. They help us understand what is really going inside the head of a person that society casually labels as mentally ill. It helped me empathize deeply with Esther. She's trapped inside the bell jar of her own mind and reality that she's desperate to escape but cannot. So it made me quite uncomfortable to think what I would do if I was trapped inside a mind like hers. There's a particularly horrifying and heartbreaking part where Esther realizes that she's going to be this way forever. It will only get worse, and the only way out is to kill herself. I'm not giving away any spoilers. This is written at the behind the book that she slips into a depression and soon attempts suicide. For a second, I thought I was giving away spoilers. Anyway, as we see in the book, some people in Esther's life are legit assholes, but the rest are just regular people. It is very interesting to see that it's not just the assholes that affect Esther, it is also the normal behavior of the regular folks that disappoint her and betray her and let her down. Reading this book made me realize that even if I'm being myself, there's a chance that I'm being an asshole to somebody. And in a world that teaches us to unapologetically and selfishly be ourselves, the first response is, that's not my fucking problem. But what if that person is stuck under a bell jar like Esther? I will never know. The book brought me very close to feeling helpless. How do you help someone like Esther? I think if we pay attention, we might notice signs. In the book, we also find clues about what a person like Esther would have liked, where she gives us an expectation versus reality account of her psychiatrist visit, or when she narrates the story about her date with Constantine. How do you pronounce Constantine without the E at the end? Is it Constantine? Is it Constantine? Is it... Yeah, so overall, I think I really like the book. The kind of writing, although I grew to appreciate it, it's not something that I can sustainably read. I would not want to read another Sylvia Plath book immediately. I do look forward to reading her poems though. I will probably do that. I will find some Sylvia Plath poems and I will read them. This was a 4 out of 5 for me.